Diego Maradona. You hear that name and you think of amazing soccer skills, big emotions, and, yeah, some trouble too. Born in a poor part of Buenos Aires called Fiorito on October 30th, 1960, Maradona's life was like a movie, full of talent, struggles, and a legacy that just won't quit. Even when he was little, everyone could see he was special with a soccer ball. He'd be out in the streets making that ball do whatever he wanted, like magic. He was only 16 when he started playing professionally for a team called Argentinos Juniors. Fans loved his energy and how he could dribble through anyone. They called him El Pibe de Oro, the Golden Boy. He was like a symbol of hope for Argentina, a country that loves its soccer more than almost anything. He helped Argentinos Juniors win their first championship ever in 1980. Get this, he scored 116 goals in 167 games for them. The whole world was starting to pay attention to this short, smiling guy from Argentina and his unbelievable talent. But those early years were just the beginning. Maradona's whole career was full of huge highs and really tough lows. He was a genius, that's for sure, but he was also human, and we all make mistakes, right? In 1981, Maradona got to live out his dream. He signed with Boca Juniors, the team he'd loved since he was a kid. The Boca fans welcomed him with open arms, and he played amazingly for them, helping them win the league championship in his very first season. By now, everyone knew Maradona was something special. Big teams in Europe wanted him, and in 1982, he was transferred to Barcelona for a record-breaking amount of money. Things in Spain weren't always easy. He had some injuries, and there were problems off the field too, like when he got really sick with hepatitis. But even with all that going on, his talent was obvious. Remember that goal he scored against Real Madrid in the Copa del Rey final? He dribbled past almost their whole team. It was like they were frozen in place. That goal showed everyone how skilled and daring he was. It made him a global superstar. Barcelona ended up losing that game, but that loss for them would soon be a win for another team, Napoli. In 1984, Maradona arrived in Naples, a city in southern Italy. People didn't always pay much attention to Naples, especially when it came to soccer. Their team, Napoli, had never won the Italian league, Serie A. But when Maradona got there, it was like he brought hope with him. The people of Naples loved him, and he loved them right back. He led Napoli to do things they'd never done before. They won 2 Serie A titles, the Coppa Italia, and even the UEFA Cup. He brought the whole city together, made them believe in the impossible. In Naples, Maradona wasn't just a soccer player, he was like a god. He showed them what was possible if they dared to dream. Maradona was a legend for his club teams, but it was at the 1986 World Cup in Mexico where he became a true icon. He led Argentina, a team that wasn't expected to do that well, all the way to winning the whole thing, and he did it almost single-handedly. Their game against England was super intense because of what had happened in the Falklands War a few years earlier, and in that game, Maradona gave us 2 of the most unforgettable moments in World Cup history. First, there was the Hand of God goal. He used his hand to punch the ball into the net past England's goalie, Peter Shilton. Later, he joked that it was a little bit the hand of God that scored that goal. Just a few minutes later, he scored what many people call the greatest goal of all time. He got the ball in his own half of the field and just took off, dribbling past one English player after another like they weren't even there. Finally, he calmly put the ball past Shilton, who had no chance. That goal was Maradona at his best, daring, skillful, pure genius. Argentina went on to win the World Cup, and Maradona was named the best player of the tournament. That World Cup made him a hero in Argentina, someone who brought a whole country together and made them incredibly happy. But Maradona's career wasn't always easy. He had a very public struggle with drug addiction, which got him banned from soccer for 15 months in 1991. Then, at the 1994 World Cup, he was sent home after failing a drug test. These things hurt his reputation and cast a shadow over how talented he was. But even with those problems, Maradona never stopped loving soccer. He played for a little while with Sevilla and Newell's Old Boys before going back to his beloved Boca Juniors one last time. He retired in 1997, leaving behind this legacy as one of the best but also most controversial soccer players ever. His struggles with addiction and his sometimes unpredictable behavior off the field showed everyone that even the most talented people have their demons. After he retired, Maradona was still a big name in the soccer world. He tried his hand at coaching with mixed results. He was the coach of the Argentina national team in 2010, taking them to the World Cup in South Africa, where they lost in the quarterfinals to Germany. He also coached teams in the United Arab Emirates and Mexico. But his coaching career was often overshadowed by his controversial comments and unpredictable actions. Even though he wasn't always successful as a coach, Maradona's love for soccer and his belief in himself never went away. On November 25, 2020, the world lost a legend. Diego Maradona died of a heart attack at the age of 60. His death was a shock, and millions of people around the world mourned the loss of this icon. Soccer players, fans, and even people who didn't follow the sport felt the impact of his passing. In Argentina, it was like the whole country stopped to grieve for their hero. Millions of people lined the streets of Buenos Aires to say goodbye to their beloved El Diez. But even Maradona's death wasn't without controversy. There were accusations that his doctors hadn't taken good care of him, and that led to a big investigation. Some medical professionals were even charged with crimes related to his death. The legal battles are still going on, which just adds another layer of complexity to the story of this complicated and fascinating man. Diego Maradona was full of contradictions. He was incredibly talented but made mistakes. He was a hero who sometimes sabotaged himself. People loved him and criticized him. He gave people hope but also showed how dangerous fame and fortune can be. His legacy is complicated, full of amazing moments on the field and shocking moments off of it. But one thing is for sure, he loved soccer more than anything, and he inspired millions with how unbelievably talented he was. He was a product of where he came from, shaped by the poverty he grew up with in Buenos Aires. He carried the hopes of a whole nation on his shoulders, and for a little while, he brought them together in a way that went beyond just soccer. Maradona's impact on soccer goes way beyond the trophies he won. He changed what it meant to be a number 10, the playmaker. He played with so much passion and style that it was impossible to look away. He was like a magician with the ball, doing things that left people speechless. He inspired a whole generation of players, from Lionel Messi to Ronaldinho, who all grew up idolizing him. Maradona's story reminds us that even the most talented people are human. He was a flawed genius, someone who did things his own way. In a sport where everyone often seems the same, he stood out, and that's why he'll always be remembered and talked about.